If you're looking for something punchy, neoclassical, and semi abstract, and that leans towards strong musical flavours, you can't go amiss with the avant garde duo Beau Bowen. If you're a fan of Sparks, perhaps with some of the supernatural essence of Bjork, you'll be a little closer to embracing the beauty and variety of the Beau Bowen sound. And to tell us more about this eclectic group, Monti and CJ of Beau Bowen joins us now. Hello, how are you doing?
Very good.
Very well, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Marvellous. It's a pleasure to have you on the show after hearing your music. As soon as I was sent your music, I thought we'll have to have you on the show there to tell us all about it.
Fantastic.
Now, for listeners just discovering your music, can you tell us how the group originally formed?
Well, Beau Bowen was initially my solo project. It was my stage name, and Monti's brother's girlfriend was supporting Beau Bowen. And Orlando, who's Monti's brother, was raving about the gig, and Monti saw some clips and just loved it.
Well, I loved you and I loved the music, so everything helped, and then we were sort of inseparable from that point. So I worked up the courage to message you, and then the rest is history. But as soon as I heard him sing and play the guitar, I knew that this was the person that I needed to do music with for the rest of my life. So it was a very convenient set of circumstances. So it's a very romantic story.
Yes, it's certainly a match made in heaven there.
A match made in heaven, and because we're always with one another, we're always doing music, we become one entity. So Beau Bowen, I don't know who's Beau and who's Bowen, but it becomes one. So we thought, we've just joined forces.
And it works a dream as well. Now, have you both always been performers from growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole life.
And has it when you were at school and things, were you always performing? Were you doing like kind of, musical numbers and things and shows or anything? Or was it just something you did when you were at home?
It was definitely always at school. Both of us, we were always, living and breathing it. But I think we both have a very personal relationship with music, and we love strong flavors. So I think even though, of course, involving yourself in different productions, at the end of the day, I think it was always important for us to come back to, our originality, what we could offer the world, and, just pushing new, unique music has been the thing. Yeah.
And when you actually left school, did you do any other jobs before you went into music?
Straight in.
No. We're just sort of through and through music, really.
Straight in music.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
As you were saying, were you going to say, was it something always that you wanted to do, the music?
Yeah, I mean, in my case, I don't know what else I'd actually be able to do, really.
Yes, I mean, you can have a love-hate relationship with performance because, being a perfectionist, I mean, I have OCD, so, it can be a painful experience because, of always seeking that perfection, but it was always inevitable. I mean, I sang before I could talk. I literally was singing, and my mother's also a classical singer. So, I sang before I could talk, and I think probably you were the same, but we just live and breathe music.
Which is a wonderful way to be, isn't it? It's like me, my father said to me, he says, I'm sure, he says, when you were born, he says, you just arrived and then you were like smiling. And he says, you smiled, isn't it? It was like it'd been here before. And he says, you might as well have been born with a microphone in your hand, because I've done radio from the age of about 5.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So it's 30 years anniversary. It was just in November in 2023 there. So there you go then. So it's good that you have the passion there from when you're younger, and you're living the dream, as it were, now still.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And actually just focusing on what, sort of, you can simplify things and really focus on what an audience will want to feel, and that's love. So taking everything away and going to that bare essentials. What do you want to give? And that's love. How do you want the audience to feel? Love. And all the other rubbish really just disappears, and you just, you can get to higher levels that way, which has always been something that we want.
Now, going back to the music, do you write music and lyrics separately, or do you write together as one?
We write as one.
Yeah.
Everything is one, really. We're completely joined at the hip. We don't do a great deal else with our lives apart from music.
We're moles. We stay in the musical zone, but I think it's the specific language that we have with one another. I mean, it's definitely what you'd call a soul connection, because sometimes I'll be singing something and you'll finish the line off, or vice versa. And, it was just as if it was meant to be, really. It's quite crazy, actually. But yeah, we always write things together, and, we write very quickly as well, actually, because once we're in the flow, that's it, and the music writes itself, I think.
I think it's amazing how you've got that connection where it's a bit similar to what recently happened last year with Suzi Quatro, when she found out that Katie Tunstall was a fan of hers, and then she actually appeared on Suzi Quattro's documentary called Suzi Q, and then they got together, and it was like yourselves, where one person can start a bit of a song, and then the next one knows exactly what kind of line you're on in order to make the song. It's just great.
Yeah. I'll let you into a little secret. So my mother was actually, back in the day, a singer who went on tour with Suzi Quatro.
Wow.
And she gave my mum her piano, and I grew up with this particular piano. And so whenever you mention Suzi Quatro, I just remember my piano.
Wow. Who would have thought I was going to mention Suzi Quatro on this show? It's just these coincidences. It's amazing, isn't it? We must be on the same vibe, us lot here talking together,
absolutely,
which is fantastic. Now, out of all of the songs you've written, what song are you most proud of?
Well, I can answer that straight away. I think it's one that's unreleased as of yet, and it's coming out on our upcoming album, A Thrilling Romance, which will be out, not too sure when really, but it's a song called Let's Make Love Again, and I think it really, it really taps into the essence of some of the greatest aspects of life, I think.
And the emotions, the way the chords hit you, because I've always had a philosophy. It's not the chord, it's what you do with that chord.
Yes.
Because, you can know every chord under the sun, but if you can't do anything with it, you've got nothing. So, so it's a very romantic song, and it will be premiered for the first time on Saturday, the 20th of January at the Bush Theatre. So if you fancy seeing an incredible romantic show, please come along.
It's a very emotional song as well.
Very emotional, very deep. Yeah.
We're like that. So yes, Shepherd's Bush, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. We'll remind listeners of that, and it's going to be a fantastic show. I know that for sure. Now, I absolutely love the video for Too Much, which we released in 2022. Where was it filmed? And it looked like a lot of fun.
Well, we actually, so I'm half Welsh, and at the time we were living in Wales, so we decided to do that in Myford, which is where my mother comes from, Myford Village Hall. It's a place that's very dear to my heart, and they've got beautiful red velvet curtains, and I always think in black and white, if you're using vintage cameras, the red velvet can come out in incredible ways. And also, of course, the space for all of my dancing. So there's a kind of an apocalyptic feel, if you know what I mean, to the video.
Yes, I like it. It looks fantastic. People, listeners, you'll have to look that one up, or viewers here who will be watching this on YouTube at a later date. Now, your sound is quite refreshing, and your music has been described as like Sparks in Bjork. I find that, if you don't mind me saying, it's a bit like Toyah and Kate Bush. And for some reason, a bit of the Human League fits in there too. How would you describe your unique sound?
You know, I think that you're spot on there. I think that you're very spot on there. I would say for me, and then you can move on to how you feel, that actually Prince has been a very big connection to me unknowingly my whole life, because I think I discovered Prince's music properly when I was sort of maybe 14, because actually when I was about 9, I was really into heavy metal, into the sort of classical element of the composition of the songs. But anyway, so when I was an early teen, I was very, very much into Prince, and I felt a very strong kinship there with the guitar and the voice, the high voices, the expressions, etc. But yeah, female singers, the singers that you even mentioned, I keep very close to my heart. We're all sisters in song, aren't we? So yeah, I have tremendous respect for the two artists that you just spoke about. And yeah, what about you? We talk about this all the time. I don't know why I don't remember, but
yeah, well, I suppose there are those specific artists you can compare it to, but I always I always think that to be unique is and different is actually the greatest achievement you can achieve musically. So I like that the comparisons are difficult to make, or they're far and wide. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think definitely a good sign. And I as well, I think when you're writing music all the time like we are, you're not listening to music or other people's music for enjoyment. You're either doing research or clinically listening. So, even though I mentioned Prince, being a big hero of mine as I was growing up, I think because there was always so much music that I had to do and I had to write, there was always a level of distance between other people's music to keep it as original as possible.
Right.
So even though that you can have an affinity with somebody, I think separating yourself off is a good thing. And I've always been I've always been very inspired by nature. So bird song, whale song, the way dolphins communicate with one another. And that's been something from a young age that I've always tried to capture more than actually listening to other people. And one other thing I'll say as well that's been tricky for me in my journey as a singer is my so many different character voices that I have. So I don't just sing in one style. I was classically trained, but I being able to impersonate and completely change the sound of my voice has been an incredible journey, but also a difficult journey because, I have all of these voices. And I'm not just one singer. There's, I'm classical, I'm jazz, I'm pop. Yes. There's so many different voices.
In many ways, I see you as a voice actor.
A voice actor, yeah.
Yes.
So I can sound however I need to. But what's been an exciting journey for us, I'm sure you'll agree, is the process of actually refining each other. So we're actually, we are totally in love, but extremely fiery with one another. And because we're each other's greatest fan, we know the heights that we want to get to each other. So it's a question of, you do that now, I know what's best. and we kind of refine each other's character through that. So, I mean, it's an incredible journey, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. I'm so blessed.
You definitely are. And it's wonderful because it means that you can always be able to change your style as the years go by. You can go, well, why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? And I'll tell you what it is. I mean, I don't like when I'm giving information here, about comparisons, and I've done my own there. But comparisons isn't what it's all about, really. I would say it's all to do with, yous are unique, and I think you've got a lot and lot of elements in there, which makes you unique. And also, I think this is the perfect time for this kind of music to come out.
Oh,
thank you very much. Yeah, I agree.
That's lovely.
That's brilliant.
That's lovely. I think another thing that makes makes the process special at the moment, because we're obviously in a very interesting time where technology is, you buy one piece of technology and it's dated, straight away. But what's fantastic, because we weren't from the 1980s, is there's a part of me that was, but I'm not. So
yes.
we've had conversations with people who've said, oh, I really feel that this could have been from this time, but of course it's actually not. It's interesting that you mentioned Human League, because I definitely agree with you there. There's some big affinities, but it's interesting to sort of feel like you're lost from a time that you think, because we weren't part of it. We're sort of, how do you say it? Seeking back to a time that never was in our music. Because of course, if you put our music right next to 1980s music, it doesn't sound the same, but yet there are so many comparisons. It's if whether I'm making any sense, I don't know.
It's with the synth and things like that. I think the way that the synth is involved in your music, and the way that it's used, that can take you back a little bit as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I love the videos as well, because the videos that you are making, they look quite retro as well. And that's meant to be a compliment, by the way, because it's just something it's easy on the eye, and you get it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Instead of having loads and loads of lights and all sorts of effects and things, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Distractions.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think actually we had this conversation the other day that, even if you have limited resources at one time, I think it really pushes you to push your talent, so often we've given ourselves a few things that we'll allow to use for a music video, and I think then that pushes us further in our performance. So it's not just, I've got millions of pounds to spend on a music video that loads of sets, loads of props. It's sort of actually keeping it down to the bare minimal, where it's us performing. So really drawing people in, and you really have to work hard, don't you? It's really quite terrifying when it's really concentrated, and you've got to give it to them. So
that's right. Yes, keeping it real, as they say in America. Keeping it real. Yes, certainly.
Absolutely.
Now you have a forthcoming album, which you mentioned earlier there, A Thrilling Romance, and live shows coming up. Can you tell us what people can, expect to see at the shows, and what listeners can expect from your brand new album?
Well, I think it's a bit of expect the unexpected, from both the album and the live show. I mean, the live show we've got coming up on the 20th of January is a premiere of the album A Thrilling Romance. So the show is titled A Thrilling Romance, and actually the record itself is a concept album and a story. So it works very well both in record and live, and done from top to bottom. It's got a really lovely architecture and a flow, even though there's so much variation and variety musically. But in terms of the live show coming up, it's an eclectic mix of stuff. The album, the story is set in a sort of dystopian future. So as you enter the theatre, you'll definitely be presented with that sort of environment, and it's intended to be something people can lose themselves in this romantic dystopian future,
or past, or
Right.
somewhere that never was or never is. Just sort of suspended in a sort of dream as well. And of course, we'll be performing some Beau Bowen favourites as well, and it'll be very cinematic too, because we'll be having a lot of visuals within the show. So it is very exciting. We're really, really looking forward to it. We're actually a bit obsessed about this. We're very obsessed about this project within, this current time that we're doing.
And is it at the Shepherd's Bush Empire at all? Because I don't want to get confused.
Yeah, don't worry. It's at the Bush Theatre. So not Shepherd's Bush Empire, but the Bush Theatre.
right around the corner.
Just round the corner
from the Empire.
Yeah,
Just round the corner.
Yeah.
Just round the corner at the Bush Theatre.
And how can listeners get a hold of tickets and follow yous?
It's all obviously online. Our band is spelt BEAU. That's Beau, and then BOWEN. So Beau Bowen.
Yeah, and if you want to order tickets for the show, you just go to www.beaubowen.com. And as soon as you arrive at the website, at the bottom of the page, you'll be able to RSVP.
And we're on all the social media.
And social media, our username is at Beau Bowen are we, so AREWE. So at Beau Bowen are we.
Fabulous. And get yourself over to beaubowen.com as well, and you'll be probably able to look at all of your social media links as well and get tickets for that fabulous show, which I know is going to be a great success. Now, your new... No problem. It's going to be fabulous. Now, your new single, Dreams With You, is a great song with its hypnotic synth, which certainly is an earworm. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, actually, it's just a part in the story. So it's quite literally
within the album, a thrilling romance. Yeah.
The two characters have gone to bed together, and now it's a dream sequence from it. So yeah, that's it. It comes in sort of right bang in the middle of the album.
And actually, the released single is the radio edit. So the actual full song will be obviously performed at the Bush Theatre on the 20th of January. And there's a section within the music where he takes her to the place of his dreams. So that's very, very psychedelic. So if you like the radio edit, you're going to love the album version, that's for sure.
And is the album version going to be a bit like Meat Love's I'd Do Anything for Love, but I won't do that, which is about 12 minutes?
Not quite, but that song is always in my heart. So it'll be that song will be in spirit when we perform it for sure.
It's actually not actually because once I played that on the radio, and because I didn't know it was the album version, and I played the whole thing, and the station manager was going, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm playing Meat Loaf. You've said to play Meat Loaf," and it wasn't the radio edit, so I got a bit wrong for that.
You've always got to have a bit of meatloaf in your weekly routine. I mean, if we've got a long journey and we're sat in traffic jams, I always get bat out of hell out, and we can't help but just go.
It gets you in the mood, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh yes. And my husband, you can't resist it. He can't resist it. He's got to join in.
Excellent. A bit of moshing in the car and all that.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yes, fabulous. Now. On another note, the vinyl revival is upon us. So I have to ask you both, what is your favourite vinyl record that you've ever bought and why?
Wow, that's a very hard question. You go first.
Well, I actually, if I'm thinking back to times when I listened to a lot of vinyl, I would probably say it's, which Dire Straits album is it? Is it is it called The Waterline or Beyond the Waterline?
Yes,
I can't
that's right.
Yeah, so that's probably my favourite for sentimental reasons. Brilliant music.
And I would probably say that really takes me back. Probably Paul Simon's album "Rhythm of the Saints."
Oh right, and is there any tunes on there that we would know of?
Oh gosh,
like is there anything that was charted off that album? Because I don't know that particular album. I obviously know.
Yeah, I can't think. Next time we have a thingy. Next time we have a chat, I'll remember. But I had all sorts of names for each song that sounded like the way they sounded when I was a child, when I couldn't pronounce the thing. But there's always an album, Rhythm of the Saints. The album is always one that I refer to. I think the album's absolutely genius. And yeah, so. Yeah, definitely.
I'll have to catch that one, definitely. Yes, listeners, have a listen to that one, Rhythm of the Saints there. Now, finally, we've run out of time. Can't believe it. I don't know where the time's gone. It's just so sad. But never mind, because we've got something fantastic that you're going to do for us now. Finally, could you introduce your latest single, Dreams With You, Beau Bowen?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Beau Bowen, and here is our new single, Dreams With You.
Check it out on all streaming platforms.
Indeed we will. Monti and CJ, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me on the show. All the best with the tour and the brand new album, and I hope I'm one of the first to play the album as the album of the week on one of my radio shows.
Oh,
that's
Thank
amazing.
You
Thank you so much. We'll see you again.
See you again soon. All the best. Take care now.
Lots of love. Bye.
Cheers.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.